Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our first series of Season 2 of Franchise Premier League. Again, this is Kevin Dunk, joined by True, and we're jumping straight into our game. And it's going to be between, if you forgot, XSV versus To The Moon. So we have right here a level 1 already starting. It might get frisky starting here.
Yeah, I mean, oh,
Oh, Murcielago
you
just
know,
stunned into the wall by the heroic charge. He's taking so much damage. He did use not use the flash. Actually, a first blood already going to Chaotix Ash. So just a 4-man, a dam into the bottom lane. Just easy first blood. Oh, and now Fracture's getting jumped on here. Just two things going on map at the same time. It's Caterpillar 4 now gets the kill with the help of Deathmaster. So just two deaths between the first, even in the first minute of the game as people are scrapping already. They're excited to get the season started.
yeah, now Crabadabadoo trading autos with Defoe. Like, this is actually going to put Defoe at quite the
Yeah,
deficit.
Defoe's actually not going to be able to stay in lane. A double beat drop goes down, almost kills him. Flash auto attack, not enough. One
Oh
more
my
hit to
God.
kill him Defoe, but Chaotix here. He's in a 1v2. Crapnadoo gets healed as Frisky MMO's here to back him out. Chaotic, one more auto attack needed as Frisky MMO picks up the kill. It's 2 kills for each team, 4 in total before the first 2 minutes of the game have even started.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wild amount of action, and it has implications for this early game quite a bit here. Defoe having to expend TP just to get to lane, just to make sure that he gets the XP, and then the person who comes out like looking at the worst on XP actually might be Crabadabadoo, as while Chaotic and Frisky MMO, they take some time walking into lane. Fallen was still farming, and now you're going to have this Seraphine who's something like a full wave of XP down. So yes, Tristana should hit a somewhat early XP spike, but after that, the bot lane of To The Moon, they're going to hit level 2 before Crabadabadoo does. Talking about top lane, like yes, Murcielago died, which is unlucky. Like it's sure, but still able to get back into lane in time because you died so early. And it's actually the Scion that's up in terms of CS over Winter here on the Rumble. So things are, as far as gold is concerned, at parity. But I do feel like it's a little bit tense for To The Moon, losing their summoners, bot lane slightly behind the enemy ADC on XP, but then also that top lane, that Rumble, that guy you're kind of looking for to combo well with your Jarvan to have an early lead, slightly behind, at least just by a little bit. And even on top of that, Fracture died level 1, and now Sinestro
Sure, yeah, he's
falls
gonna be moving his own
Crabadabadoo.
jungle.
Oh
The
no.
snare goes out. Deathmaster opponent's just beating on him. Actually steals the red buff. Insult to injury as red team claims the feat of warfare as Crabadabadoo is now 2-1. So just a horrendous game for this Jarvan to be starting off at 0-2, and his red buff was stolen.
Yeah, and that is just a great read. I don't know who made the call, assuming that's Deathmaster Bones or who, everyone knows is Sinestro, or if it's Crabadabadoo saying like, hey, this J4 won't have flash. At best, he'll have flag and drag, but he's going to use that to start up the camp. So this is an ideal opportunity for us to just get that third kill, get that feat of warfare, and we're not really losing all that much for it. Like, yes, the Seraphine going to continue being down on XP, but that's not the end of the world because now this J4, who is a champion that a lot of people look to in the early to mid game as like can be a reasonable carry for your team, is now like down in the dumps. You're 0-2 at 4 minutes, and you're struggling. Like you're walking through a lane, Caterpillar's already rooting you again, and there's nothing for this J4 to grab. Like he is
Yeah.
completely starved.
Yeah, as most pro players would say, this jungler's absolutely homeless as, down, I think, 2 camps here, unable to farm jungle, red buff stolen, 2 kills down. It's just a nightmare for, like we said, in the, pick ban. Jarvan is one of these champions that wants to go in early as we see Winter getting super aggressive. Decimating Smash gets the stun on him. Murcielago is not deterred as he's just recalling in front of his face. So a nice aggressive trade there. But yeah, talking back about the Jarvan, you want to use that early ganking power, get ahead of the Diana before she scales and can one-shot your team. But I feel like that's going to be very difficult for Fracture's Jarvan in this game. He's going to have to be very creative to run it back.
Yeah, I mean, and at this point, like to me, it kind of feels like you're banking on Rumble hitting level 6 and maybe just pulling something off on uh, a Scion who can be quite vulnerable to how high Rumble and Jarvan's base damage can be. But like at that point, you're making another gamble, right? But I think the other side of it is like, who can you gank really viably? It's hard to gank Rise just because he should be able to make his way out of things unless he over pushes. And then bot lane, Tristana Seraphine. We didn't talk about it too much, but that is a lane that can stay quite safe as long as you hold Rocket Jump for this Tristana.
Rocket jump in, gets a nice chunk onto Freaky MMO, like you said. Yeah, very able to hold this lane. And Evil Fallen, you were talking about it earlier, Trues, that they were able to soak up the early game XP, so they're a full level almost ahead of the bottom lane of To the Moon. So they're just going to be very, very far ahead, able to get push in lane, push them under turret. And again, that early priority from what you expect from your pushing lanes is going to be even worse. And it's still XSV with that scaling comp.
Oh my god, they're doing it to him again. Fracture might be in a bit of trouble here. You did see Sinestro or Deathmaster pinging on towards that J4, and you even saw Caterpillar walk over potentially, and it actually looks like XSV, they are acting to try to pinch this J4, but Fracture is going onto Caterpillar himself.
Flag and drag gets flashed away from Caterpillar, had to burn that, but now they're getting collapsed into Defoe, jumped on by Deathmaster, has popped the Demonic Ascension. He's getting the damage to the flash. Double root misses from Cabadabadoo, but the knock up under just out of turret range. Defoe flashes out, barely survives that, as it's the bottom lane rotating over. Cabadabadoo is using the priority from that pushing bot lane to help the other lanes, and it's working out.
Yeah, and up there in top lane, Winter fell for one of the classic blunders, right? Attempting to dive Scion under turret, gets hit by the unstoppable onslaught, then knocked up, and then even on top of that, right? Rumble, infamously, you silence yourself when you max out your heat. That's exactly what happened. Winter couldn't walk away, couldn't survive, and ends up giving the kill over to Murcielago, my bad. And yeah, things are going great for XSV so far in this first game. Like they have just found, several kills. They've completely shut the J4 out of the game thus far. And Winter certainly has a lot of damage, but it's just hard to be successful.
Oh, Evil Fallen getting jumped on here by Frisky MMO. Heroic Charge doesn't stun, so Evil Fallen has to flash out. Doesn't have the barrier available as well, but Krabadabadoo is back and supporting his AD carry to make sure that they get out safely. So just a couple summoners blown from Evil Fallen's Tristana, but not much else that To the Moon can get from that trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard, I think, for Chaotic as well as Frisky to commit for that. Neither of them are level 6. And Evil Fallen, yes, the Tristana is just able to walk it out by virtue of using both summoners, but staying alive in that situation is probably still the most important thing for the Trist. End of the day, though, I was going to say things are still somewhat difficult for To the Moon, but it looks like they might be angling for these grubs.
Yeah, I was going to say, even for To the Moon, like Chaotix, Ash is still down, almost 2 waves of CS, but they are able to secure the first set of grubs here. So Defoe moves over to support his jungler, but it does mean he's going to lose a wave here from Caterpillar's push.
Yeah, and I think that's just something that Defoe accepted as a Swain. Like at the end of the day, at a certain point, Rise will just easily outpush you. Just being able to overload the wave. And man, I just feel like things are so devastating for Fracture here. I don't think the J4 has gotten a single red buff at this point.
The Keeper's Verdict misses, unfortunately. Deathmaster uses the Moonfall, but it's flashed out by Chaotic. He's trying to lay down the damage, but not enough. Krabadabdoob's keeping them so healthy. Now it's a 4v3 in this bot side. I'm not sure if this Swain wanted the smoke. Deathmaster is so low. Can they get the kill on him? One more Death's Hand get the kill, but now he's so low. Chaotic gets ripped apart, and Defoe gets knocked down second. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 in the red side jungle there. A bit of the wallet diff and a bit of the damage. So yeah, both the mid and AD carry going down as Murcielago is going aggressive against Winter. Equalizer on the wave as he tries to run away, but he's overheated. One more knockup from the Decimating Smash. Gets the solo kill for the second time this game. This Scion should have been weak early, but he is absolutely smurfing in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like so many things just working to Winter's disadvantage. That silence is really devastating for Rumble to be dealing with. And obviously the name of the game is heat management. And when Winter is at high heat but not overheated, yeah, the damage from Flamespitter is pretty high, but consistently Murcielago is getting the better end of it, and eventually this Scion is going to be tanky enough that he doesn't really care about Rumble's damage. Although it looks like To the Moon might not be quite done with him as Fracture is showing up here in the top lane.
Yeah,
He'd just be
Fracture's
trying to
going
hold a
for
wave.
something. Yeah, but he tries to hold the wave, but this is a sign that's 2 levels up on him, unafraid, unfettered, because, yeah, Murcielago didn't even go for magic resist in his build. He just went straight for the cull for even more of that scaling power. So he's up, a lot of gold, up an entire wave. I think one key itemization mistake that you could call it is Winter didn't buy any of the boots, so it's really hard for him to outspace the Scion, especially knowing that, Scion's Q, the Decimating Smash, is such a telegraphed move. Being unable to jump out of it without the scrap shield, you're going to be getting hit by it a lot, and I think that's what's leading to these kills.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something difficult to be dealing with, and I think that if you are like also talking about that fight around the red, like things are a bit tense to execute on because in that situation, yes, we saw a bit of Defoe's damage at play there. Actually, Defoe in a
Oh,
bit of
but dang,
trouble.
onto the Swain here. Full CC chain gets him super low. Defoe, can he heal enough? It's not enough. One more auto attack with the passive. Deathmaster is just farming them, and Krabadabadoo is doing a great job on this support, roaming everywhere for their team.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually trying to get at. Like, oh wait, Fracture
Oh, now
taking that
another
fight.
battle in the jungle here over the Krugs. Cataclysm goes down, but there's not a lot of damage onto this Diana. Gets stunned into the Cataclysm wall. Is there enough damage? One more Flagging Drag gets the kill, and the Caterpillar's in the mix. Keeper's Verdict sends him back out of the Realm Warp, so it's just going to be a 1-for-1 there. Diana got a little too aggressive, and it means they die for it, but that still means they're ahead in gold and they complete Leandri's on their back.
Yeah, so certain elements of To the Moon's comp should still be working well, right? We have the Cataclysm, and then you can Poppy stun off of that or Rumble Alt more ideally in terms of damage. But when you are able to do that, yes, it can be very annoying to deal with. That's exactly what Sinestro had to deal with in that very moment. But speaking of things that are difficult to deal with, right? Defoe only recently completed the Roa. I think it should just be hitting its first stack in a moment. And thinking about a lot of these fights that Swain has been involved with, it's going to take some time because you're committing for double scaling items, right? You have the tier in your inventory, you have a Roa as well. And in that regard, yeah, you're kind of like, it's going to be a bit annoying to wait to scale up. And when that is your game plan, right, it's hard to commit for a fight. Any deaths kind of just set you even further behind. So Caterpillar coming out on the better end of it, just having very similar itemization, but just getting more gold overall through farm and through kills.
Yeah, and like we said, Swain had to run around and kind of help their struggling junglers. We see the Flag and Drag on them. Defoe and Fracture trying to beat down Murcielago's Scion, but he's just unkillable. They just hit him so often. He walks past the turret, barely takes any damage. But the Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits him dead center, stun into the wall. Defoe brings him back with the Never Move. Do they have enough damage? Murcielago flashes out. The ultimate is stopped by Frisky MMO, but they get the kill on him just as this Poppy explodes. Murcielago's still alive as they're all trapped in the Cataclysm. The Demonic Ascension is dealing so much damage, but it's not really doing a lot. Krabadabadoo is here supporting his team, and Evil Fallen is everywhere like they have been the whole game. Evil Fallen jumps in with the rocket jump, flashes in. One more auto plus the Buster Shot, doesn't get the kill. Takes a lot of damage from the turret, but so far it's been a purely positive trade as it's a 2-for-0 from this team of XSV. Can they hunt down the Jarvan? There's one more auto attack. He gets the Flag and Drag out. Can he escape this? I'm not sure if they saw him. Manages to just, I think, barely sneak out. He's recalling in the bush. Does Krabadabadoo look over there?
No, it
No,
doesn't look like
actually.
it.
So he's going to get out safe, but still, that is 2 free kills in the jungle of To the Moon, just getting ran down by everyone on XSV, as this feels like the support, their AD carry, even their junglers, just everywhere. As we continue to see fights everywhere on the map. I think the Rise managed to get the flash to escape. Winter's trying to burn down Murcielago, but now it's Deathmaster here on the map like usual, and Winter has to flash out. There's just chaos on the map as everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and I think slapping them with their wallets is a right term to use, just because like you see that and this is kind of what we're getting into, right? Scion is that premier blind pick top lane tank, and you saw how many resources that To the Moon committed in the attempts, in the hopes to kill Murcielago, and it just didn't work. They layered CC. I think the Poppy stun came in a bit early to combo in terms of the Ash arrow, but
Yep.
even then, right?
Yeah,
Like
Fracture escapes. Yeah, continue.
yeah, like even then, like it's just hard to execute because the Scion's so darn tanky. Though
They
it
get
looks
the
like
pick on
Diana
the Death
in
Master. He
trouble.
uses the Moonfall, but he's taken so low. Defoe, does he have the damage? One more Death Hound kills him before the Redemption comes out. Chaotic is here, and it's 5 people chasing after this Seraphine. Gets a double root onto one, but Enchanted Crystal Air gets the stun on a Krabadabadoo, and as a shutdown over to Defoe's Swain. So a bit too much aggression gets punished by the team of To The Moon as they find some kills back.
Yeah, and that's what To The Moon kind of has to do right now in order to claw their way back into the game, right? They need to get gold onto their carries. They need to find themselves opportunities where really XSV are in positions where they shouldn't be, and you can just capitalize off of that.
Or
And
Scrapple
speaking of like
from the
hard
rise.
to
Everyone's
execute,
jumping on
he's so
Murcielago, but he's
tanky.
so damn tanky. Fracture is just going to die to the Decimating Smash. Evil Fallen is here now. Doesn't have the rocket jump as he
Oh my
just used
god.
it. Murcielago might he died to the... No, Rift Herald is a nice boy and doesn't get the last auto attack as he uses the Soul Furnace to walk away. So it's just a free farm kill onto Fracture, who's building... I'm so sorry, but the itemization is just, absolutely confusing as he's going for the Hollow Radiance first. We see almost 99% of the games the Jarvan going for the Sundered Sky. I guess he felt like he needed to buy more tank items, but that is just not what you want to see when you're so behind in this game.
I mean, like it might have just been an admission of like, all right, my time in the sun has not arrived, and it won't even be coming, right? Like,
Yeah, it's
you're
not
zero
arriving and it's not
two,
coming for the game.
like you're 0-2 before that death. You already just hit tab. You see that you're something like 30 CS behind. Like as a J4 in that position at like the 15-minute mark, I can understand like looking and being like, all right, me building damage does nothing for my team. I just need to be a better front line. And maybe that's where Fracture's mind is right now. Now, granted, you are right. Like typically you're just gonna see like, okay, just complete your one damage item and then go forward from there. And I agree with you in that sentiment, but I do think that Fracture just believes that they're so far behind, like this is it. Like you can't really efficiently commit to building even a single damage item when everything has to be given to your carries at this point. Although it just hurts to see. You're right.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I think he's in a place of deep, deep sadness, after getting invaded so many damn times in his own jungle. I think, just thinking about ways that To The Moon could even get out of a game like this is going to be in the, put your faith in this Swain in the middle lane because, the most kills on the team, the most, the third most farm, but I guess the gold value that they got from the shutdowns is what really matters. And they're building a Leandri's Torment, and they have that double scaling item, right? So it might be this Swain in the mid late game that can, turn it around, as the Ashe is probably going to do no damage to the Scion, right? And same with the Winter, and of course, like we spoke about, Fracture. Just so low damage from this team since the Ashe is behind, the Jarvan's behind, the Rumble's all behind, and it's against a team that has so many shields and heals from the Seraphine, the tanky frontline Scion. There's a lot of health being built by the Diana. It's going to be extremely difficult for them to fight, but they're going to have to fight eventually because they're going to pick up a Dragon Soul point here as the Rift Herald crushes the tier 1 turret mid. Yeah, after this fight, it's do or die because after this Dragon, it's going to be the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I mean, like, that is something that we didn't really get to talk about too much, for as much as we acknowledge that the J4 is behind, one part of a consequence of that is that To The Moon have really lost all rights to any neutral objectives. Yes, they got the grubs at some point, but we saw them, completely collapse around Herald. They can't contest the dragons. So To The Moon, like they are so hard pressed to be successful right now.
Yeah, very difficult to find success. But we got a shutdown onto the Ashe. I'm not sure. Okay, I think they managed to get a kill, but Defoe pops the Demonic Ascension, the flash away from Caterpillar, as we see, a bit of trading back. The gold lead is, about 5K, but maybe slowly they can claw it back. I liked that the Ashe managed to get the shutdown money, as it's a really big deal because this Tristan is approaching the second item, and we see just the Ashe sitting here with the Kraken Slayer only at around 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a good arrow, great opportunity to get that shutdown, and good target to give it over to, in terms of the Ashe. But like that is necessary but not sufficient, right? Like it's really important that Ashe starts becoming relevant, and you can already see that second completed item being Phantom Dancer now. So many resources have to be committed over to Chaotic in the hopes that the Ashe can kind of win the day. because at this point everyone else is a bit of a glorified frontliner. Yes, Swain and Rumble are there, but like it's going to really be hard to look to them as like the main carriers for fights when I feel like their role as far as everything might just be to act as like consistent disruption in order to like keep targets away from the Ash. um, that being said, though, it's still really difficult for this team to cut through Scion, right? We've already seen it happen like 2 times now,
Speaking of
where it
Sion, he's
takes
got a flank
almost
on Defoe. Defoe
everything.
gets rooted up. It's the decimating smash for the knock-up. Gets another knock-up with the ulti. Defoe flashes up with the encore
Oh
is here. The
yeah.
nice flag and drag hits onto 3 members. Is this enough? The demonic extension's healing, but it's not enough. Fracture's locked in with the rest of them. Deathmaster has to flash out from the Ashe. Maybe this Ashe can carry the team fight as Fracture's still trying to frontline, does no damage, and almost gets melted immediately. MMO has to flash out as we see the decimating flash smash onto everyone. A nice keeper's verdict sends out 2, and now Chaotic is hitting onto the Scion in the backline. Flamespitter from Winter finally gets the kill on Deathmaster, and they finally take down this Scion for a shutdown. The gold going onto the Ashe again, but it's not over as Winter thought that those 2 that got sent out from the Poppy were gone, but they came back 4 seconds as they get the kill onto the Rumble. So it's a 3 for 2 overall on the map. That was actually a 4v5 team fight. I didn't even realize, but the Rise is pushing all the way through the top lane, might be able to get this inhibitor from that fight.
Yeah, Caterpillar could have TP'd, but I think Caterpillar understood, like, even if like more members of our team die, you have such the like a superior ability to push. Might be getting punished for it now though.
See the Realm Warp. Oh, barely gets him out. The Seraph Shield keeping him safe. Chaotic
Mhm.
came back with another item component, and so did the Swain here with the fully finished Leandri's Torment. So a nice Realm Warp to get Caterpillar away. So that's more gold funneled onto the Rise. But maybe that was a bit of a look back, for this team of To the Moon to, make a comeback into this game.
It's certainly a possibility, but like to me, right, these fights are just that much more of an indication that everything that To the Moon truly have to rely on right now is that Ash, right? Like, and even with the Ash getting like a solid injection of gold, you're still really, really hard pressed. Like, it still takes you a year and a half to kill Scion, and that was with Seraphine and Tristana being knocked away, right? If Evil Fallen and Krabadabadoo are able to continue being in that fight, I don't really think that it looks as good for
Oh,
To the Moon as it did.
yep,
Frisky
he just gets caught
all
in
the
one
trouble.
shot. Frisky is not tanky at all as they got hit by the unstoppable onslaught into the smash, into the Rune Prison root. So that's just a freebie on the support there. As the team of To the Moon try to protect this mid lane tier 2 turret, I don't think they're going to be able. It's a 5v4 and a huge gold lead. I think it's an 8,000 gold deficit that they have to play against. A level, I think 16 Scion. I don't even know how powerful this guy is. He's pretty much Thanos in this game, unkillable. Fracture tries to pick up some stuff in his own jungle, but it might just mean his death as the Encore and the Moonfall go out. Rocket jump on top of his head. He just dies instantly. Winter gets stunned up, drops the Equalizer, but it's not enough as Chaotic gets jumped on too. He has to jump and flash away from the rocket jump of Evil Fallen. So that's another 2 free kills in the jungle for XSV as they're knocking on the front doors of the base at this tier 3 turret.
Yeah, and it feels like for To the Moon, like none of their pieces came together, like at any good moment, and like so much of that is predicated off of this Jarvan being set behind in the early game, and really now we keep talking about it. I feel like we're talking about it to death, but the only thing they have to hope for is Ash, being able to do meaningful damage at a certain point. And the problem with that is like now you're contending with this ultra tanky Scion with an Ocean Soul. So there's going to be so much health regen. There is pretty much not a shred of grievous wounds to be had on the entirety of To the Moon's comp. So even if you gave Ash enough gold to finish her items at this point, it's still going to take a while to kill Scion. Like there's no Bork to be had, and now we can see there that Chaotic does have an Executioner's Calling, but like I just feel like it's too little, too late. It's so hard to be successful in this situation because there is just nothing that To the Moon can really rely on in a pitched team fight.
Too little, too late is so right true. That's the story of this game from minute 1. I think, unfortunately, To The Moon was the loser of that level 1 skirmish. It set the Jarvan so far behind. It set the bot lane so far behind. Yes, Marissa Lago died in the early game, but like you said all those minutes ago, he got the early XP, and now Fracture's getting jumped on in his jungle again. This guy cannot catch a break. Flag and drag
Oh
out, but he
man.
gets hit with the Encore. Evil Fallen rocket jumps over, fully stacked lethal tempo. One more Buster Shot will do it as he gets another kill, rampaging. The jungler for To The Moon is dead, and that means it's a free Baron, even freer than it already was with this gold lead, but they're going to get this uncontested for sure.
Yeah, there really is just nothing that To The Moon can look to as like a real, actual silver lining. No avenue for victory. As XSV, they've kind of just grabbed the door and slammed it into the Moon's face, at least as far as this game is concerned. Because, like, you cannot expect Ashe to do everything in this fight, or in these fights. Like, your front line is practically non existent. Like, the resistances aren't fully there. Rumble is still trying to wrap up, just wrapped up Bloodletter's Curse, in fact. So, like, while in theory you have the ability to cut through max HP, I just don't think that XSV really care.
They really don't, as they're knocking through 2 inhibitors god now as they're on the final siege of the Nexus. A nice never move stops the push for now, but a nice flash moonfall into the backline. Flash ultimate from the Scion as well, but this Ashe is untouched. Can she do enough? Demonic Ascension onto many members as Murcielago's tanking multiple turret shots. Winter gets the kill onto Diana, actually. Could this be a throw? Caterpillar gets the kill onto Ashe. Defoe flashes in, but can't get enough as Krabadabadoo keeps their whole team safe. They are one slippery crab as they're knocking on the front doors still. Fracture's back, but he just gets charmed up again to another death as Winter goes down, Freaky Memo goes down, and one more kill onto the Jarvan to seal the deal. Not even the Scion died in that team fight as it's a dominating game 1 from Team XSV as they never put their foot off of the pedals.
Yeah, I mean, we expected To The Moon's composition to be more successful in the early game. Like, yes, we acknowledge that Scion is just a really